I would like to introduce Mats, my former colleague and now the Director of Business Development and Partnerships in our sister company, Tribia. Mats will tell you more about how Tribia can help you to have value to your business. I will mute myself. If you have any questions or any comments or feedback, please write them in the Q&A panel. And if it makes sense, I will ask Mats to answer your question right away, or we will wait until the end of the session and answer all questions then. So with that, Mats, please share your screen and take it away.
Yes, thank you. Just want to start with commenting on our screen, the pictures also, Per-Ole. I think I'm looking like I've been drinking all night and you like you have a Chinese father. So I think we need to do something with our webcams. So, okay, let's see if I can share my screen with you. I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, now it's there.
Good. So I will go in presenting mode there. So, yes. Okay. So welcome everybody. As Per-Ole mentioned, my name is Mats Persson. Been working a long time in the company, very many years in Symetri actually. But the last couple of years I'm at Tribia, working with business development and partnerships. So I will start with a couple of slides regarding Tribia. We are part of the Adnode group in the same way as Symetri. As you can see here in the lower left section here, light blue, we are 3 companies in the division called Design Management, which is us at Tribia and Symetri, and another sister company called Services Global, who have had a presentation in the session room today. They are working with the facility management and are partners to us, meaning they are selling a couple of solutions, Interax and BMI, together with their FM services package. So we are quite intimately working together with them in what we call a building life cycle management concept. And obviously Symetri is contributing with all the design tools and everything that creates the data that we are picking up in the building projects we are providing services to. Tribia is the smallest company in the group, and but we have we're working with cloud services and deliver it to building projects. That's our main focus. We have a turnover about 160 million Norwegian crowns, has 100,000 users, and as I mentioned, been working with cloud services since 2001 actually, when it was called SaaS. It's the same thing. Software as a service or cloud service is pretty much the same. Offices in Stockholm and Oslo, 80 employees today and counting, mainly in Sweden and Norway, but we also have development teams in Sarajevo and other places. So quite spread out. So to start with, I would like to talk a little about the challenge to today's situation. You heard it many times before, but it can't be said too many times. The challenge is collaboration, and this picture actually shows the way that different industry segments collaborate. And this is examples of manufacturing and financial services and software development and so forth. And in the middle you can see construction, and you can see it's quite a different picture because it's much more blue stuff in the construction, and which means that there are a lot of external users. So if you look a little bit zoom into that one, this means that the construction industry has a unique collaboration profile. And this means that the employers in the organization are less connected because of that the construction are project oriented. It's also very often that each project shows their own support, the digital support tools in many ways. Even in big construction firms like Skanska and NCC, it's quite often that, for example, the cloud service that provides how you distribute your documentation in the project can be one of, maybe in Sweden, maybe 4 or 5, probably a little bit the same pitch in Norway and other countries. And a large proportion of the people that working in these projects are actually not employed at the contractor. So they are subcontractors or specialized consultants or whatever it is, and taking their own tools and methods into the project. And this creates quite a mess, not just in working methods, and also in collaboration, communication. So that's the situation today. That's how it is, and yeah. And here I have some pains that comes up in terms of this way to work. I would like to point out the last one there. File sharing and is not enough, and that's why I'm going to focus a little bit more on here going forward. So this is why we think that file sharing is not enough. You can't just produce drawings or Word documents or PDFs and send around, because a lot of these information that's created are not visualized there, and it's not transparent there. So today there are a lot of project portals distributing the documents, and also the files in the design tools are loaded up in portals. But the data created outside the 3D object models and outside of the offices are not captured and not distributed. It might be in ERP systems and stuff like that, and that's a problem. So you don't got the whole picture if you're a building owner or somebody that should do the operation and maintenance processes in the end. What we at Tribia are delivering today is 3 different cloud services. It's Interaxo that many people that are working in Norway is quite familiar with. In Sweden, we have another legacy product that we're still providing. It's called Apricon. So Interaxo and Apricon is the ones we're delivering projects in Sweden in terms of document management and collaboration in different kind of workflows that you are looking at in terms of decision making in the building projects. BMI has been mainly used in Sweden, starting to be used in Norway and so forth, but some project in Denmark. But it's the data management project that we have connected to the BIM model and extracting the data and giving people possibility to add the data, not using BIM tools. They can add data in the BMI. And Unisight is a field tool that actually are consuming data from these other tools that handles the data flows, but out in the field. So the path into the future, we are now involved in quite a lot of projects, and we can see based on that this last year has been a lot of focus supporting. Suddenly people are not able to be gathered in that content they have been before working together, which means that there have been a lot of needs for new digital support in terms of having meetings and handling processes and protocols and documentation from the process in the building project. This has all led to that our solutions actually has had quite a accelerated demand from our customers. So, for example, our visual board support in Interaxo and has been very asked for during this year. But we're also involved in projects where the demands and the ideas about what they want to do is starting to be quite high. And this is 2 examples of dialogues we have. One on the right side is actually with a company a quite new company that's actually going into the market in terms of supporting and helping building owners with establishing the processes they need to have in place in terms of having a good operation and maintenance system in place to be able to take both great demands and then also collect and gather and use the data that are produced in the projects. The one to the left is actually a project where the sustainability is in the front seat, which also leads us into dialogues with companies like Sweco, who is working a lot with how to implement the sustainability aspects into the BIM process. And with this in sight, we think that in quite soon, I think we will see that more and more of the new buildings actually built, and maybe also buildings that are going to be rebuilt and retrofitted will be produced and managed with some sort of digital twin support. It might not be the full-blown digital twin with sensors and everything that Therese talked about today, but it will be some sort of level of digital twin support that will be drive this information deliveries and also drive the demands on how the information are created, but also will be drive how you will deliver the data into a common data environment. The aspect is also there to, when you have created this digital twin or this way to handle data, you also need to actually have an idea how to keep the data updated. So it's not just about demanding this, it's also about having an idea of how should this digital twin be maintenance parallel with the physical building over the lifetime. And one of the cases we're involved in, as I mentioned before, is this treehouse building project in Stockholm, which has gone is different phases. This has to have the sustainability as one of the main reasons. That's why they have built in as a treehouse building. It's quite high, and there have been quite a lot of demands connected to and wishes connected to sustainability in this, which means that this has also been mapped not just from the design phase, as you can see on the green metro line, you can call it, on the right hand side in the picture. It has also been mapping a lot on the yellow one, who is about the products that are used to build this project. So it's a lot of how to connect these two data streams in order to create some sort of common data environment to be handed over and maintenance and handled in terms of traceability and so forth when going forward, all the way into being able to reuse the materials when this is got demolished. So trends then that we can see in the project we are attending, and if what this is possible to give in types of new business opportunities. Yeah, as I mentioned, then clearly required information is very on its way. I can see that both when we work together with Servicehouse Global in their customer cases, but also in cases where we, as Therese, for example, with the Ökenportal project, there are some things here that will demand a way to code and classify these projects in terms of the BIM and the objects in the BIM model, but also how to be able to classify and demand the documentation that needs to be mapped together, to deliver together with the BIM model. And the Ökenportal project that I mentioned though is one of those projects. I won't go into the detail here because you have maybe attended the presentation that Tyrians have had regarding this, but it's a very ambitious building project where they're going to use the digital twin for operational excellence, and where we have been providing the left hand corner, where they have to put the red marking around. It's BIMI and Interaxo connected together to be able to deliver, to put together all the documentation and objects that need to be connected. So this is the way we have done it. We have used Interaxo to hand out to the subcontractors, so they can upload their documentation regarding what they are using for products in the construction. We are also looking at, actually, which has been an idea in this project, how to, in Norway there are product database that's called the Co-Builder that actually has some of this information. So we have been looking at to connect our solutions towards Co-Builder in the future to be able to collect the data from there, instead of they have to take it out and load it up here manually. In order to create a connection between the documentation and the BIM model, as I mentioned, we have used BIMI. So the FTV number, which is the classification number, been used to produce a hyperlink that we use to as a property in the BIM model. So you can see the hyperlink here under the FTV documentation, which means that if you go into the BIM model, you can filter the object or the asset you are interested in, for example, Windows here. And when you have filtered that, you can actually click on the hyperlink to get the exact documentation regarding that kind of window, or if it's specific information for a specific object, that it might be maybe a door that you want to know about the locking in that door, then you will get the exact information regarding just that door, not just the type doors or the. And when you click on the hyperlink, you end up in Interaxo, and on that post where you can see the metadata field in the upper field and all the documentation uploaded to regarding this one in what you call vedleg in the end, in lower end part of this picture. We also been involved in a project on infrastructure side with pretty much the same ambitions. Here we have in the Ökenportal project has been Revit models, IFC models from Revit and Tekla that has been imported, it's synchronized into BIMI. In this case, it's also IFC models, but this comes from a totally different design tool. So, but it's the same, exactly the same conceptual thought about how to get things together, both documentation and the object model, put together and linked together. Yes, and in terms of new business opportunities, then what's happened also this year is that we are starting to partner up with industrial knowledge. It has been through both companies contacting us and seeing that our solution might be a good platform to connect to in order to get information and crunch information and give back information. So as we are aiming at to have a public API, we don't have it totally released in all products yet. We have it in Interaxo. We are working on the first one in BIMI. We've been able to do some connections. In one of them that we are going to see come out on the market this year is the connection we've done with BIM-BRIAB, but the BIM-Fire Share solution. Today, BRIAB have a BIM-Fire tools that are sold and distributed by Symetri as a plugin to Revit. But in terms of the share solution, it's a cloud service that will mean that we can actually use data from BMI to feed the share service where they have some automatic rule checking, and when done that, you can actually get the result back into BMI for further use it downstream in the project, for example, of the contractor and others that need to have that kind of information. One of the customers that we actually are in dialogue with in terms of this kind of workflow in the future is one of the big housing groups in UK. But this is something that we can see it's a huge potential in, and I don't know if you have visited Briab's sessions, but you can hear more about their ideas and this view of what the potential are regarding beam process enabled fire protection. And that concludes my presentation. You're very welcome to ask some questions, and if not here, contact me one-to-one during this session or afterwards in through email. You have a contact information here. You can also visit our expo booth and have talk with us there, and we can show you a little bit more about our solutions. So I don't know, Per-Ola, I can't see is there any questions now in the session?
No.
Excellent.
The short answer, yeah, you have been crystal clear.
Okay, that's good.
But as I said, Mats, you will be available in the expo booth. And of course, if you go into attendees on the event, you can always search for Mats, connect with him, and even schedule a meeting with him. So please use the time to connect with Mats and hear more about what Tribia can offer you.
Please do, and as well, come to our booth and we can have a first talk there and maybe help you with some questions you already have. Okay.
Perfect. Then everyone, thank you for attending, and spend the time to connect with Mats and get some coffee. And we will see you in the next session at 12 in about 7 minutes. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.